So here we are at Cabragh wetlands. You're welcome to this centre. Really the history of this place, it goes back to 1989 when the local sugar factory just down the road from here closed. And essentially a group of local concerned people got together and they purchased some of the wetland that the sugar factory were using for excess wash water. They purchased 14 acres back in '89, and that really was the beginning of Cabragh wetlands. And we're very grateful to those people. It was very, I suppose they had great foresight to move to conserve what they saw at the time as a valuable area. We've since extended that area, but that was the beginning of it, and a very important start by a group of local people taking the initiative themselves. So in terms of here we are at the ponds in Cabragh wetlands. At this time of the year, you're heading into winter. Nature is quiet. A lot of even pond life are going into a kind of a hibernation. Nature is resting. The earth is resting. But there is a growing expectation as well in the earth. I think that as it awaits the return of the sun to illuminate the earth and bring back life. I suppose at this time of Advent, as we are in expectant mode as we await the arrival of the Son of God. Due largely to lack of awareness, in the last half century in particular, there's been a huge loss of habitat, of variety of habitat, of quality of habitat. And that has affected other species to a very large extent. I think none more so than to freshwater life. The Living Planet report would tell us that maybe in the last 50 years we've lost over 70% of freshwater life. And that is directly because of our lifestyle impacting on the life of fresh water. It's not anything that we've done intentionally, but it is because of lack of awareness of the impact that our lifestyle is having on the life or the ability to survive of other species. So Laudato Si talks about the idea that our duty towards nature is an essential part of our faith. Well, that's a very strong statement, that it's an essential part of our faith. I've just been talking about the loss of habitat, largely due to lack of awareness of the impact we can have on other species and on the landscape around us. But the truth is, and it sounds a bit unusual to say it, but we speak a lot about homeless people. But we also have homeless birds and homeless mammals. Not because of anything that they have done, but because we have taken away the places where they like to live. And when we're standing here, just behind us here, we've been trying to work to restore some habitat for lapwing, which are here at the moment. They've come in from Scandinavia, will spend the winter here. We've done some work during the summer to try and create some habitat, essentially, that they're a ground nesting bird, and we're hoping that next spring that they will be able to rear their young here, as they have done in the past. So we are beginning to realize that's an important part of what we do here as well, is that trying to be proactive in trying to restore habitats that have been lost, and with other species in mind, because care for creation is an essential part of our faith. Throughout the document on Laudato Si, Pope Francis is calling us to ecological conversion. in fact, on the section on biodiversity, he finishes by saying we've no such right to treat other species the way we are. So I think that whole concern around habitat loss, the plight of other species is very, very important. But there's nothing new when we talk about this stuff. You know, St. Columba back in the 6th century, he talked about the notion of how we understand creation is how we understand the Creator. In the 13th century, the German philosopher and mystic Meister Eckhart, he spoke about the notion that every creature is a book about God. So there's nothing new in this. This is not a sudden kind of realization. We've always in a sense known our connection and our interdependence with the world around us. We probably lost sight of it a bit in the last century or two. But it is urgent now, I think it's important now that we recover a sense of our interdependence and interconnectedness with the world around us. How we understand creation is how we understand the Creator. Here at Cabragh Wetlands we have the opportunity from time to time, and the privilege indeed, of working with young people with education. I certainly like to say to them, you know, to say to young people that you don't have to go back too far when your ancestors couldn't read or write. They were illiterate, but they were highly earth literate. They were very aware of the world around them and their interdependence and their interconnectedness with the community of life, and they worked and lived within that world. By comparison, we today tend to be very well, quite literate, but quite disconnected. And so that's a challenge for our time, is to recover that sense of wisdom, that earth literacy, and to give value to that. We have a creation story now. We have a cosmic story that makes it very clear that our welfare is tied up with the welfare of all other species. I think it has never been clearer that our physical, our psychological and spiritual well-being is tied up with the well-being and welfare of all other species. Because just to go back to refer to our stones on the cosmic walk, Earth works because it all works together. That's how it has evolved over billions of years. So we're here at the back of our bird hide here at Cabragh Wetlands, and we've set up a bird feeding station here, and we have renovated the hive, that bird hide, over the summer. So we're planning in the coming months to, from time to time, to have children in, just to help to identify the garden birds, the birds that are around most of the time. And it's tied in that thing what I mentioned about being more earth literate, be more aware of what's around us and more connected to that. I think it's fair to say, you know, as we've been talking, most of the damage that has been done in the last 50 years was largely because of lack of awareness. But now that we've never been more aware of our impact, and neither have we never been more aware of what the solutions are, what we need to do. So we're at a very interesting kind of crossroads. There's an old saying, isn't there, that where attention goes, energy flows. So I think at this time of expectation, of waiting, of hoping, I think just, I suppose for me certainly, is to be attentive to where I invest my energy, where my energy goes. There's hope for the future. There's always hope. It's just that we need to be selective in how we invest our energies.